What is up, coordinators and naturals? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are finishing up Cosmic Era 71 and Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Last time, the defected Archangel ship groups up with the remaining members of the Orb Union and members of the Klein faction to form the Three Ships Alliance. In this episode, we will finally conclude the first Alliance Plant War. We will also learn more about Kira and Mu's past. So let's get into this. Rau le Cruset informs Kira that he is the ultimate coordinator born of an artificial womb by the hands of Ulan Hibiki. In order to understand the ultimate coordinator, we must go back to CE 55 and the attack on Mendel. Ever since George Glenn became the first coordinator, there was a huge coordinator boom. The rise in coordinators led to the rise in anti-coordinator movements. This was the beginning of Blue Cosmos. To create a coordinator during those days, you still needed a mother, which was most likely still a natural. Because of this, it led to a weird time where women were seen as vessels for coordinators. It wasn't until Ulan Hibiki created the ultimate coordinator, a human birthed from an artificial womb and free from the burdens of having to be born of a natural mother. Hibiki tested this on his own son, who was named Kira Hibiki. Ulan and his wife Via also gave birth to Kigali, who was natural born. In May of CE 55, Blue Cosmos attacked the R&D facility on Mendel Colony and destroyed all the research and killed Ulan and Via Hibiki. Luckily, Kira and Kigali were able to survive due to his aunt, Karidad Yamato, so it seems the people that Kira thought were his parents were in fact his aunt and uncle. We also learn about Mu and Rau's past. Mu's father, Al Deflaga, was an arrogant man. Because the coordinators were still birthed by natural females, Mu ended up not inheriting any coordinator abilities. So Al forced Ulan Hibiki to make a clone of himself so he will have someone who is genetically superior to pass on his inheritance. But in return, Hibiki had his ultimate coordinator program fully funded. This clone happens to be Rau le Cruset. Simply put, Rau hates humanity. While he believes that humanity will eventually wipe itself out, he is not satisfied with waiting for that to happen on its own and works towards ending humanity. Unlike Char in the original Mobile Suit Gundam, who played both sides to accomplish a personal goal of destroying the Zabi family, Rau is playing both sides because he simply is a nihilist. Mu shoots Rau and his mask falls off. They look so similar to one another. The Dominion prepares to launch and attack the three ships once again. Athrun, Injustice, and the Girls in the Astrays launch as well. The Dominion makes the first strike on the Archangel. The Eternal preps the Meteor unit. Freedom, Strike, and Buster come out of the Mendel colony. Rau returns to his ship and takes some pills. It seems these pills are related to him being a clone. He wants Flay to assist him with something. Justice and Freedom fight Calamity, Raider, and Forbidden. Flay gets in a capsule. Rau sends a message to the Archangel crew regarding his prisoner. He wants Flay to deliver a message to the EA. Rau and Izak launch along with 12 Jins. Flay's pod launches as well. The Eternal handles Zaft fleet, while the Archangel handles the Dominion. Justice and Freedom try to hold their own against the Dominion's Gundams. Flay sends out an open communication. Everyone realizes that Flay is the prisoner. Badriel tells Calamity Gundam to grab the pod. Kira goes after Flay's pod. Raider is able to knock off Freedom's head. Calamity grabs the pod. The Eternal and Kusanagi group up and beeline through the Nazca-class ships. Kira is being careless. Luckily, Athrun has his back. Justice and Buster have to pull Kira back to the ship before he gets too deep in enemy territory. Calamity takes Flay's pod back to the Dominion. One of the Nazca-class ships go down. Zaft regroups. Izak is starting to question Rau's leadership. On the Dominion, Flay gives Azrael a disc that Rau gave her. It happens to contain all the information on the Justice, Freedom, and N-Jammer cancellers. In the medbay, Mu tells Ramius about his father and Rau. Everyone seems to be suffering currently. Back on the moon, Azrael wants to use this information he attained on an all-out nuclear attack. However, Earth is currently suffering from an energy crisis. He convinces EA anyways. the Dominion is being supplied with nukes as it prepares for an attack on Boaz. The lunar fleet begins their assault on Boaz. Calamity, Forbidden, and Raider launch from the Dominion. They are accompanied by a few Agamemnon-class ships. We never talked about the Agamemnon-class ship when we talked about the Omni Enforcers. It has a Gottfried beam cannon, large missile launchers, and anti-air guns. EA launches dozens of nuclear weapons using the updated Mobius and what they are calling the Peacemaker Force. The TS-MA2 Mobius is the mass production version of the Mobius Zero that we saw Mu Laflaga pilot before acquiring the Skygrasper. The Mobius was outperformed by Zaft's Jins and they essentially stopped production. But they are perfect for the Peacemaker Force. Each Mobius is equipped with a nuclear warhead and their objective is to simply launch nukes. They launch nukes and completely obliterate Boaz in a matter of moments. Badriel feels so much remorse for having to resort to nuclear weapons unlike Azrael. Patrick Zala prepares for an attack on Yakin Dway and prepares Genesis. Now that the EA have resorted to nukes, it is only a matter of time until they use them on the plants. The three ships must move fast. An all-out nuclear war is upon them. Meanwhile, it took almost the whole series for Flay to actually feel something genuine in regards to war. Good for her. She got there. All forces begin to gather at Yakin Dway, Zaft's final line of defense before reaching the plants. EA sends out the nukes. Freedom and Justice launch in the new METEOR units. The METEOR is not just a great song in this series, but also a mobile suit support system. If you thought Freedom was overpowered before, you haven't seen anything yet. The METEOR uses the same engine as the Gen high maneuver type and is very fast. It has beam cannons, it has a beam sword, it also has an anti-ship missile launcher. When the METEOR is attached to the Justice or Freedom, it essentially has the power of a warship. It is ridiculous. Justice and Freedom come in as the nukes are about to hit the plants. Kira and Athrun use their multi-lock-on system along with the METEOR system and wipes out all the nukes. The three ships come onto the battlefield. Genesis is ready to launch. It stands for Gamma Emission by Nuclear Explosion Stimulate Inducing System. It is a huge gamma ray cannon that uses nuclear explosions to produce a massive burst of gamma radiation, which is reflected back by an external alignment mirror and focused by a second mirror on the cannon to create a laser beam. Patrick Zala fires Genesis. A good chunk of the 7th Fleet, which the Dominion is a part of, was taken out. All mobile suits retreat for now. Genesis needs to replace its mirror after every use. They go out to prepare for another attack. The three ships do the math and find out that if Genesis is pointed directly at Earth, it would wipe out all life on the planet. Indeed, that is exactly what Patrick Zala is planning to do. Lacus gives Kira a ring and Athrun kisses Kigali before they head out for another attack. Mu also kisses Ramius. You gotta kiss the girl before the final battle. Meanwhile, Izak is having his own "what am I fighting for" moment. Everyone launches, including Kigali in the Strike Rouge. The MBF-02 Strike Rouge was built using spare parts of the Strike and is more or less a copy of it, including the use of its striker packs. The only difference is that the Strike Rouge uses AI and additional power that changes the phase shift armor color to red and pink. Rau goes out too. Patrick doesn't want him to mess this up. Rau asks Patrick, even if that includes killing Athrun? Patrick says of course. Rau goes out in the Providence. The ZGMF-X13A Providence Gundam is the last of the Gundams created by Zaft. Like Freedom and Justice, it also has an in-jammer canceller. What makes Rau's Providence model special is the use of the Dragoon system. Dragoon stands for Disconnected Rapid Armament Group Overlook Operation Network. This allows a single mobile suit user to control multiple bits that can attack an enemy from all angles. This is essentially Universal Century's Psychomu system and funnels all in one package. It requires a skilled pilot to be able to control all of the bits. Providence has 11 bits. Patrick decides to attack Ptolemy's crater on the moon with the Genesis. He takes aim and fires. All lunar forces heading towards the battle is destroyed instantly. Azrael just wants to murder the Coordinator's homeworld, while Badriel wants to destroy Genesis and win the war. Azrael's racism gets the best of him, and he pulls a gun on Badriel. Azrael launches the Peacemaker Force once again. The Archangel approaches the Dominion. They both fire on each other. Justice and Freedom handle the nukes. Kigali is almost hit by Forbidden, but Izek comes in and saves her. Izek goes in and takes out the Forbidden Gundam. Rau and Mu meet on the battlefield again and begin the fight. Rau is having some real bad brother envy right now. Justice uses the Meteor's beam saber to take out the Calamity Gundam. The mobile suit goes after Genesis, while the Archangel attacks the Dominion. Rau beats up the strike really bad. He retreats to the Archangel. Flay tries to warn the Archangel. Azrael tries to shoot Flay, but Badriel prevents it. She tells everyone to abandon ship and go to the Archangel. Badriel traps Azrael on the bridge. He shoots Badriel a few times before going over and firing the Longren beam cannon himself. The Archangel wasn't expecting an attack after most of the crew retreated. They can't defend themselves quickly enough. However, Mu comes in to save the day and is beaten down Strike Gundam. His shield doesn't hold and the strike is destroyed, but it managed to save the Archangel. Ramius cries out for Mu. Wait. This isn't what I remember from my childhood. Bring up that original cut. Yeah, that's the good stuff right there. Let's all just pretend Mu is dead for now. Ramius aims its own Longren on the Dominion. The Dominion is destroyed, killing both Badriel and Azrael. Rau in the Providence comes in to attack. Rau is able to destroy the Meteor's beam saber. Clotho is the last standing biological CPU in the Raider Gundam. He has gone too long without his gamma glypheptin pills and is going mad. Izak is able to take out Raider Gundam. Providence is able to destroy Freedom's meteor pack. Providence fires at the Dominion's escape pod, killing Flay. This awakens Kira's seed factor. We haven't really talked about the seed factor. It stands for Superior Evolutionary Element Destined Factor. It is when an individual attains a heightened awareness of their surroundings and their reflexes are enhanced. This is very similar to the new types of Universal Sentry. Your eyes also seem to dilate like you are on mushrooms. Pretty cool. There are no Earth forces, just the 3 ships alliance. Zaft has essentially beaten EA, but Patrick still wants to fire the Genesis regardless. So much so that he murders a subordinate for questioning him. While Patrick prepares the Genesis, the man that he shot was still alive. He ends up shooting Patrick, right as Kigali and Athrun come to clear out Yakin. Yakin Dway is set to self-destruct and fire Genesis at the same time. Athrun goes into the Genesis and does a Star Wars. He plans on self-destructing the Justice to destroy the Genesis weapon. Kigali follows Athrun to prevent him from killing himself. Kira uses his beam saber and strikes the Providence, killing Rau, but not before having to listen to Rau go on about his nihilism. Yakin Dway explodes. Genesis is about to go off, but the Justice self-destructs and destroys the weapon. But Athrun is safe in Kigali's Strike Rouge. Kira floats out into space with the Freedom nearly destroyed. He takes it all in. Athrun and Kigali come to save him. After the war, in-jammer cancelers were placed throughout Earth so that power plants can be up and running again, fixing the Earth power crisis. At Zaft, Izak is promoted to commander after initially being sentenced to death for crimes against humanity at the Battle of Orb. Diarca and Athrun were considered deserters by Zaft. Athrun was officially discharged, while Diarca was demoted 1 rank. The Nairobi Peace Conference led to the Junius Treaty, which officially ends the First Alliance Plant War. The Junius Treaty specifically outlines several points. All national boundaries on Earth had to be restored to the status quo. Thus, both the Orb Union and the United States of South America, which were seized by the Alliance, became independent nations again. Also, Zaft had to leave the areas they conquered during the war. However, they were allowed to operate the Gibraltar and the Carpinteria base on Earth. Neither side would pay reparations. Instead of an international tribunal, each side would try its own war criminals. Preferential tariffs for former plant sponsors. Nuclear technologies, such as neutron jammers and neutron jammer cancelers, are prohibited from military use. Mirage colloid technology is prohibited from military use. Mirage colloid was a gas that was used in Blitz's stealth technology, as well as Forbidden's Geschmeidig Panzer. The moon is considered neutral territory, with both sides having the same number of bases. Foreign Minister Lindemann of the Kingdom of Scandinavia proposed in the Lindemann Plan that strict limits be placed on the number of ships, mobile suits, and mobile armors that could be owned by either nation. The armament limits imposed on each nation by the Lindemann Plan are proportional to national resources such as population and economic output, thus placing the plants at a substantial military disadvantage. One group was allowed to live on, however: Blue Cosmos. Because the treaty never put anything in about removing Blue Cosmos, it essentially allows the racism to build up all over again, leading to the Second Alliance Plant War. But that will do it for this episode and for Cosmic Era 71. This series still works really well, even with all the melodrama nonsense. I can't say the same for the sequel. Perhaps I will come back and do a video on all the Christian symbolism running throughout this series. Also, so much could be said about Jesus Yamato, the chosen one with an immaculate birth. We will move forward to CE72 and CE73 as we continue our journey through Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny. Until next time, coordinators, remember, if your plan is to play both sides, make sure you have the crazy racist under control. Peace.